Texas's economy is booming due to supply-side policies, suggesting President Trump's reforms are set to increase the nation's expansion of GDP. One America's Kristian Rouz explains.
The state of Texas is rapidly re-emerging from last year's devastating hurricane and a two-year recession. A robust expansion in private sector investment and business activity, along with a surge in oil prices, boosted Texas GDP to a stunning 5.2% annual expansion in the fourth quarter of 2017. This is the fastest pace of economic growth among U.S. states for the time period.
The Texas economy is larger than Canada, is larger than Australia. In fact, the Texas economy is even larger than Russia. And that makes me more powerful than Putin.
According to the Commerce Department, the mining sector led the economic expansion in Texas, as oil drillers have commissioned dozens of new oil rigs across the state. Pumping activity was at its highest in the Permian Basin, a vast area in western Texas and parts of New Mexico, where immense reserves of oil buried under the dirt became available for extraction after the shale revolution back in 2014. The Lone Star State's economy grew at about 4% throughout the first 3 quarters of last year, but most of 2015 and 2016 were marred by a deep recession, which slashed up to 2% of the state's GDP.
We think it's a slight negative as well, but we continue to grow. Our economy continues to expand at about half the rate it was, but we're still in a growth mode, albeit a slow growth mode.
But now the Texan economy is booming, and it isn't driven exclusively by the oil sector. According to the Labor Department, Texas added the most manufacturing jobs in the U.S. in the 12 months to December 2017. That month, annual gains in manufacturing employment in Texas stood at 1.9%, above the national average of 1.7%.
Over the past year, Texas has added more new jobs than any other state. And as a result, Texas now has the lowest unemployment rate of any time over the past 40 years.
Experts say Texas' economic success is greatly attributed to President Trump's supply-side reforms, as deregulation and tax cuts have boosted the state's productive forces. Meantime, the two-year recession in 2015 and 2016 is often blamed on Obama-era demand-side policies. These are best illustrated by the example of California, where stifling environmental regulations and other rules have suppressed effective output capacity.
We just got better because after my first term as governor, we lowered taxes by $4 billion. Think about this. We have no personal income tax, no corporate income tax. We have had a business franchise tax that we just slashed by 25%. We cut property taxes. We invested in roads and schools, making Texas an even better destination for businesses.
Back in 2014, top Democrat donor overseas, Saudi Arabia, ramped up its oil production, which triggered a major collapse in oil prices in hopes to destroy the Texan shale miracle. However, lower break-even costs in the Permian Basin allowed Texan drillers to adjust and repulse the Saudis' hostile aspirations, forcing the Islamic Kingdom to impose caps on its crude output last year. Meantime, the U.S. has made significant steps towards full energy independence, driven mainly by North Dakota and Texas.
Remember, 3 or 4 years ago when President Obama went down to Brazil, he talked about giving Exim Bank money to Brazil to produce oil so the United States could import it. That's how quickly things have changed.
And GDP growth in Texas isn't showing any sign of letting up. As experts from UBS noted, the current boost in private sector investment will encourage even more job creation in Texas, potentially pushing its GDP growth up and above 6% per year. Economics experts say Texas has become the epitome of President Trump's business-friendly supply-side reforms. Low tax levels, reduced regulations, and an emphasis on freedom of enterprise have attracted the middle class from across the country over the past decade. Additionally, the Lone Star State has boasted a solid fiscal sustainability due to its ever-expanding tax base and low levels of budget spending.
We modestly firmed our 2018, 19, and 20. When I say we, the Dallas Fed, it created a little bit of firming for us in our GDP forecast and a little more aggressive overshoot of full employment, i.e. a lower unemployment rate.
Even as the post-hurricane recovery is still underway, the Texan model of economic success is living proof President Trump and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin are on track to making America great like Texas. Kristian Rouz, One America News.
We can use your help. Call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call today.